Hey, so I'm just curious. Do your kids ever listen to this podcast?
Uh, no, I don't know if anybody in my family or anybody that knows me personally listens to our podcast.
So you're saying they're super supportive.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. No, my kids, they do not.
Mm.
Um, but that's a great idea. These are like short enough. The dumb dudes are short enough. Maybe I'll have them listen to it and get some input because kids are, if they're anything, dude, they're honest. But I
Yeah.
know your kid. I don't know if your boy listens to him, but I know that he knows what a dumb dude.
Well, I asked that because I've noticed recently that my son, my youngest 4 year old, he's starting to say dumb a whole lot more, and so um,
But where are they listening to it? Like is Crystal listening to
I
him and then
sometimes
he
I'll have them on like in the car, like and they're
uh
they're in. I'll re-listen to one of them and it'll be on the speaker, like on the Bluetooth and yeah. So Wells is starting to say dum a whole lot more now. So maybe we should change the title of these things. I don't know.
no, I don't think we should. I
Oh,
think it's a great opportunity for to refine our parenting skills.
touche, touche.
I don't
Well,
know, just
what are we talking about today?
but I've noticed that I have ample opportunities to refine my parenting skills every single day.
Yeah.
And it's funny. We had a thing this weekend. It was a belated friend celebration of my daughter's birthday, and we were out at the life and everything. But I wanted to be back. I had promised my daughter I would make crepes, and what crepes are. So I'm a breakfast guy. I make almost every morning. I make my kids some a homemade breakfast of something. Usually it's like a protein waffle or I make these certain pancakes or whatever. So crepes, what's special about crepes is that they know that they get to fill the crepes. And usually that's with maybe some ice cream, some whipped cream, some fruit. And so I had promised her I'd make crepes for 9 little girls that stayed over at the house. Not 9.
That sounds amazing.
It was um it was something. But I thought it was hilarious. My daughter on her own, she drew out a contract. It was a drama-free contract
Oh,
that she had I don't know where this idea came up, but she passed it out to all these friends that were staying over and they all had to sign it, acknowledge it and sign it. They were all in breach of contract by probably the 45-minute mark because there's so much drama.
nice.
But I thought it was an interesting thing. So I kept trying to appeal to the contract. I'm like, hey, I know, did you sign the contract? I know you signed the
Was
contract. So
there a
why are you guys?
consequence to this contract? Like if you broke it?
No, I should have been more engaged in the contract. I assumed the contract would make a difference. The contract meant nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It meant nothing. If you were an outside observer, you probably would have thought it was a drama contract. Like you will have drama, so sign here. But anyways, not really sure where that contract came from. But whatever the dumb and the contract thing comes from, I think it does come from a deeper sense of why. I'm trying to segue into our conversation, man.
Yeah.
That was my best
That
attempt.
was I mean, it was a good attempt. I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, it was good.
Thank you.
So do you have your why figured out based
Yeah,
on
man. Dude, I'm a why ninja. Let me
yeah,
tell
you
you
are.
what.
Yeah.
I've had this thing figured out. I've got it locked down. I've got an amazing, beautiful why. No, really why we're doing this dumb dudes, and you're a dumb is so Wells, if you're listening, your daddy is a dumb head. Um, we wanted to talk about the why because it's interesting. We talk about it so much. And I think, as I was analyzing my why recently, I realized, wow, man, I have a poop why. Like it's not a good why. And it's interesting because I believed that I had a strong focus on my why. And therefore my why should probably be pretty refined and should be a good solid why. And I realized recently, I was like, man, I have a garbage why. And I'd been telling myself this story that I wanted our businesses to make a bunch of money so that we could give a ton of money away. And what I realized is no matter what the reason to pursue a number, no matter what the reason is, whether you're telling yourself that it's to give a bunch of money or whatever, a number is a why is a pretty poor place to start or to be or to end, really to end as well. To end on a number is a really, in my opinion, is a weak why. And when I look around and look at some of the conferences we go to, and there's these things thrown out, these people are throwing things out like, oh, I have this much assets under management, or I have this many doors, or I desire these huge numbers, whether it's $1 million of net worth or 100 million or $1 billion. And I started, and when I hear those people say that, I'm like, that's just not like, what's the point of, okay, so you have 100 million, a desire for 100 million net worth, and say you're at 80 million net worth. Like, what's the difference between 80 million and 100 million for the purposes of your daily life and interactions? Like, is that, like, it seems so inconsequential. It seems like a weak thing to me. And I'm not judging anybody else's why. And maybe at one point I was, but then I realized, dude, in good biblical fashion, like, maybe you should take assessment of the plank in your own eye, and the measure you use will be used against you, and all those really good things that we live by. And I was like, dude, my why is based on a number. And just because I'm telling myself this lie that, oh, I want a number because I want to give, and that sounds so high and mighty and beautiful, in reality, it's still a number. The why is a number. It's not a purpose. It's a number. And that's weak sauce. That's not what I want my why to be. And so I have a crap why. and it was really like, you and I think this was iterative over a number of days, and us spending 4 hours in a car down to Kansas City and back, and like, it was us having a lot of conversations. And finally, I think we were in the car, and I'm like, dude, my why is garbage. Like, I have a garbage why. And then it made me
and our business was kind of set a lot around that.
It was
why
built
too.
on that.
Yeah,
it was built on that. And and then built on the lie that value is, like, even in giving, the amount of money we give, excuse me, is our value.
Yeah.
Or that's the value of what we give. The entirety of the value of what we give to others is wrapped up in a number. And when I started thinking about the conversations we're having, and the depth of conversations and richness, and within the mastermind and these different conversations where there's no monetary value associated, but the value of the conversations and what comes out of those meetings, not because of us necessarily, but just as a result of the positions we put ourselves in, I was like, man, that is hugely impactful. And this could be potentially be impactful into eternity. And there's no monetary value assigned to it. So shouldn't I be spending more time on this than on this? Like, I have a garbage why.
Yeah. And when, let's say you do have a number that you have in your head that you're wanting to get to. Well, what happens when you get to that number? Like, are you just gonna stop? Like, all right, got the number. I'm done. Hang it up. Let's go, drink Mai Tais on the beach and, lay in the hammock. No.
Or even worse, if you're waiting for that number to give yourself permission to make an impact.
Yeah.
Or to do a thing like, I'll give money when, and you never get to that number, then are you going to go to the grave never having given?
Yeah.
Of yourself or of anything, because you didn't achieve this number?
Yeah. It's interesting, man. We've been kind of doing a lot of soul searching with this conversation of our why and our life purpose, and the business that we created, thinking it was going to be based off of these whys that we had in our minds. And I was kind of doing some research and found this TED Talk about finding your life purpose. And I'm blanking on the name. I'll find it and I'll post it on our social media channels. But he's talking about he had his like 20-year college reunion from Yale, which is a pretty high esteemed college. And
I've never heard of it.
You never heard of that?
No.
Well, go look it up. It's his group of friends, his classmates. There was, you know, widely in all aspects like successful people, but for the most part, most of them that he was talking to were unhappy. And a lot of them made a lot of money. They had successful businesses. They had nice big houses, nice cars, went on vacations, had families, but none of them were happy. And the few that were, he found a commonality in these people that truly were happy, and they had a purpose. They found a purpose. They had a big why, and once he kind of dove into that a lot more, um, he kind of had like 5 questions that you can like figure out your purpose and your why pretty quickly. And it all came out to be like, these people that were happy had a purpose that was outward facing. He called it the outward facing formula. And you have to like kind of dive deep into this video, but like, the questions he's asking are, what are you qualified to do? Who are you doing it for? What do they want or need? And how do they change or transition because of it? And so if you could kind of build your purpose and why around those type of questions and be outward facing, you're going to find a lot more fulfillment and purpose in what you're doing. It's not just a number. It's not just, even if it's for good, right? Like, even if like, I want to give $1 million a year, you're not going to find fulfillment in that.
No, and that's a great point. And I don't remember the specifics if he said, but were the people that had identified their purpose, were they the most wealthy people in that group?
Nope.
Nope.
We're not.
Right. That they were not, it wasn't the measurement of their fulfillment and the measurement of their perception of their success was not based on how much money they made every year. And actually quite the opposite. Most of the people that were the most unhappy, unfulfilled, and not living what they believed was their highest and best, and achieving what they thought they were capable of or their potential, some of those were the highest earners. And we hear it time and again. I'll tell you, it was frank, because there are very real, so we'll bring it practical. There are very real challenges to transitioning out of a job, whether it's us, getting out of the military. We're getting out here in 2 weeks, our paycheck's going to be cut in half. And that's a very real thing. And we don't have, could we go out? Could we have been pursuing and trying to line up a job in the last couple months? Yes. But instead we've been pouring into curriculum and getting a group together and in this mastermind that we're super excited about, because the mastermind, why we're excited about it is we truly believe that it can make significant impact for the people that participate. Like, that's what it boils down to. We really believe, we love leadership. We want to be leaders of starting and creating something where men can come and and truly be the best, husbands, fathers, friends, and the best people that they can possibly be. And we believe that we can offer insight into, and not even us, we could bring men together that will offer each other insight into how to become the best they can possibly be. And that is a purpose. And so while there's no money currently tied to that, no income promised from that, no W-2 offering quote unquote security, I feel great about the prospect of moving into that.
Yeah.
And I love, and then there's no guarantee that it's going to succeed or fail, but there's also these things we draw security from, going to a job and making money. Well, there's no guarantee that they're not going to fire you, or that they're going to downsize, or something's going to happen and you get let go. There's no guarantee that doesn't happen. It's not a security. We believe it's secure, but it really isn't. Just ask anybody who's ever been laid off. And so I think when you're looking at that purpose and that why, and you really refine it and find it, it goes deeper than a number. It goes deeper than a position. It goes deeper than a title. You'll know. And if we make barely enough money, but there's men, barely enough money to pay our bills and all that, and on the world standards, but men's lives are being changed. I'd be willing to bet that my fulfillment and the joy that I have, there will not be a number that you can attach to that anybody could compete with the feeling I have of fulfilling a purpose, the feeling I have of fulfilling my purpose. And I think there's huge beauty in that. And you don't know that unless your why is a living document that you give permission to continue to refine and develop always. And even though I feel great right now, and this thing is going to be what it is, well, if it's amazing and it's adding value like I think it's going to do, we're going to have to refine it to make it better. Because if I'm still looking at my same old why from, if 3 years from now, 1 year from now, and I'm looking back and I'm not refining it to be even better, then I'm settling even then. And I'll probably look back, we'll do a Dum Dudes in a year, and I'll be like, man, my why back then was complete garbage. And that's a great place to be.
Still sucked.
That why was poo-poo. And I'll tell you, man, that's a great place to be. And I'm excited about it.
Yeah. While you were talking, it reminded me of a quote that someone in a separate mastermind that we're in said, and I wrote it down. And he said, we were talking about fulfillment, about being fulfilled. And he said, fulfillment comes from fulfilling the potential that is within you. Fulfillment comes from fulfilling the potential that is within you. And it comes right back to, who are you serving? How are you helping them? And how can you change their lives by what you're doing, by that potential that you have within you? So good stuff, man.
I love it. Love it, dude.
Not so dumb, but
not so dumb
and deep.
Pretty deep.
Yeah.
We may need to change the title of our Friday things if we keep being so stinking smart. Yeah. We'll call it Humble Fridays by Two Smart Dudes. You know what I mean? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Concur.
But I would just encourage everybody, hey, revisit your why. It's not a bad thing. If you don't knock it out of the park the first time, then continue to work it. And if you do knock it out of the park, I would question the park that you're playing in. Maybe it's a really tiny park. Maybe you're playing in a little kid's park and you're playing man or woman sized baseball in a little kiddie park. That doesn't make any sense. So maybe play in a bigger park. Okay, Stu?
Okay. Sounds good.
Go find a man-sized park, Stu. Stop playing in baby kiddie pools.
And with that, don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb, but if you're dumb, be deep. And if you're dumb and deep, well, your probably name is Stu. Out.
See ya.
Yeah.